So you're hiring a personal injury law firm and you want to know who you're going to be speaking with. A law firm has different people working there. What do they do? What are their hats? And what are they called? I'm David McDivitt. I'm going to explain to you some of the people that you may interact with if you've hired a personal injury law firm. Obviously, number one, the lawyer. There are going to be a lot of people behind the scenes at a law firm, the accountants, maybe marketing, business operations, executive members of the team. You will probably, as a client, not communicate with them. The people you communicate with will be the lawyer, a paralegal or a case manager, and maybe a legal assistant. They may call you, they may write to you for different reasons. They all have a different role to play in a law firm. Obviously, the quarterback of your case is going to be the lawyer. There may be more than one lawyer at a law firm working on your case. The lawyer may have a supervising lawyer, they may have an associate that they work with and they are working together on your case, but the lawyer is the main quarterback of the case. Somebody else who's very vital to moving your case forward is the paralegal or the case manager. And I say that because every state has different rules for what you can call somebody who's not a licensed lawyer, but is helping you with your case. But let's use paralegal or case manager. For ease of use, I'll call them case managers. This is oftentimes a word used to describe a person who's not a lawyer, whose job is to really help be a point of contact for you on your case, to assist the lawyer in moving your case forward. And that could be making sure that you are aware of medical appointments that you've already been scheduled to visit, helping you to communicate with the doctor's office if you're having trouble getting through, helping to communicate with the records providers at some of these medical providers. The case manager may call you to get updates on your treatment, how you're feeling, and reach out and communicate with your family to understand their perspective on how your treatment is going or how you're behaving or how you're dealing with your injuries. All of that information is very helpful in helping to build up a case, documenting that into a file system that the attorney can then review when they speak with you. It's really important that if you hire a lawyer, that you're speaking with your lawyer too. Not just a case manager, not just a paralegal, but your lawyer. It may not be every day. Oftentimes it won't be every day. But on a regular basis, you're communicating with somebody on your team, whether it's the lawyer or the case manager or the paralegal. Now, paralegal is a term used to describe a person at a law firm who's doing work, not fully legal work that a lawyer would do, but very legal intensive work that states allow paralegals to do. Oftentimes that comes in a litigation context. So if your case involves filing a lawsuit, your claim may not lead to an actual lawsuit. That law firm may be able to get your case resolved or settled without having to file a lawsuit on your behalf. Maybe there's a paralegal helping you with your case before a lawsuit is filed, but almost certainly when a lawsuit is filed, a paralegal is very involved, very instrumental in helping your lawyer create the documents that are necessary to get that case into court. So a paralegal will do a lot of the initial drafting of a document for the attorney to review. The paralegal's job is also to make sure that all the court deadlines are entered into the file. Maybe a lawyer is doing it, but oftentimes a paralegal is doing that. That paralegal may work in concert with a case manager, for example, who might have been working with your claim before the lawsuit was ready to be filed. They may be the same person. It just depends on the firm, and often the nomenclature, that is how we call these different roles, will be different based on the firm and based on the state. Then there's a legal assistant. A legal assistant oftentimes helps internally to make sure that the documents, that the information is flowing from one part of the department to another part of the department, and that nothing falls through the cracks. Mail comes into a law firm. It comes in digitally in the form of emails or attachments. It comes in via fax. There are still faxes. And it comes in the mail, snail mail. Very important documents can come in one of those different ways. And it's important that that law firm has somebody whose job it is to make sure that that mail gets read and gets put in the appropriate file and put in front of the appropriate attorney, case manager, or paralegal. That person may be called a file clerk, may be called a legal assistant, but again, a very vital role. Typically, when you first call a law firm is somebody in an intake department. Their job is to get as much information from you as possible, set up a claim, to set up a case, or to make sure that that law firm can even help you with your case. They play a very vital role. They are oftentimes your first point of contact. If the law firm and you agree that that law firm will take your case, the intake typically is not as involved at that point with your case. It moves over to the department or the team that is actually going to handle your legal case. Somebody else you may communicate with is an investigator. Now, when I think of the word investigator, I think of a detective, I think of Sherlock Holmes. And in many instances, the people that a law firm calls investigators are not actually magnifying glass detective, but they play a very vital role in helping to gather information, kind of boots on the ground, go out and meet with potential clients, or to ask questions of witnesses, or to just help compile information to help the legal team. Now, some firms hire actual investigators. Typically, these are people with law enforcement experience who are now in the private sector. They know how to really evaluate evidence that they see at a scene. They know how to interview witnesses who might have been at the scene. These investigators, in that sense, play a very vital role in helping to build up the evidence that helps support that legal case. You may be communicating with any number of these people, and you may communicate with all of them at different times in your case. No matter how many people are on your team and who's reaching out to you, your lawyer should always be accessible to you. Remember, they're the ones who are quarterbacking this entire case. Listen, I just want you to understand who these people are that you might be talking with. If you've got any questions, let me know. You can either direct message me or reach out to my firm. Thanks.